Hey friends, welcome back to another Storytelling with Let Love Rise, where I share stories from the original blog called Let Love Rise. My name is Andrea Blythe, and I created this blog back in 2021 with the intention of not only healing myself through storytelling and processing through and extracting the good from the pain, but more importantly, putting it on a public platform was with the intention to hopefully reach other people that were in similar dark spaces. It was birthed out of the pandemic, out of my divorce, out of the series of events that transpired after my divorce. And so I was deeply looking for connection, but I think we all are, no matter if we're just post pandemic or, a couple years later, we're also looking for finding ways to connect. So I do that through sharing my stories, and also through teaching using the moon and music and mindset and the magi. And there is a very special invitation for anybody who wants in on the Big Idea collaborative call. I'm hosting a call tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. That is Mountain Time, a Zoom call. So you could just leave a comment or send me an email, andreablythe@letloverise.com, and I can scoop you in on that. Otherwise, more details will come, but I'm really excited about what's next for Let Love Rise. But before we go too far into the future, let's take it back a couple years to the story called Luxury of Time. Luxury of Time. So carve out a couple minutes for yourself here. Pop in your earbuds or earbuds or whatever. My kids make fun of me every time. They're like, Mom, it's called whatever. Take a walk, do what you need to do, enjoy a cup of tea. Let me tell you a story that was written in April 2022, Luxury of Time. It starts out with a quote that says, "Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life." That's a quote from a wall of the antique shop that I visited today. Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Have you been feeling the pull of life lately? Movement into action, going, overwhelmed, tired, maybe even exhausted from the pace that we're entering back into after 2 years of solitude. 4 years later, I feel like it's still resonant. I've felt it. It's the energy that's all around us right now, and that makes me wonder, how are you doing with the momentum? Are you riding it like a world champion surfer in the curving vortex of a wave? Or are you feeling like you're riding a sled in an avalanche? I believe I felt both in the last 2 years, and I certainly know which one I prefer, and I don't even surf. There are two things that money and time have in common. We spend them both. The only difference is one is finite and one is infinite. This year, I've had to challenge my thoughts on finances and specifically rewrite my narrative of abundance. I may not currently be in a prosperous season financially, but I'm enjoying the hell out of my life lately. You see, I've come to realize that the only thing between me and my financial well-being is my mindset. Do I have a roof over my head? Yes. Do I have food in my pantry? Yes. Do I have clothes to cover and warm me? Yes. Do I have my most basic needs met? Yes. Do I have a large home with a housekeeper and a gardener and the luxury of travel whenever and wherever I'd like? No, but do I want that? Not really, except for the last part. Travel is awesome. And Michael Franti, if you're listening, please clear a path for me to come to a yoga retreat at your retreat center in Bali. Soulshine, thank you. I knew you had my back. What I've come to realize is that I have the luxury of time. 2 years ago, when my kids were first split between my home and that of my ex, I was devastated. My kids were my everything. I love them fiercely, and I dedicated 13 years of my life to being a full-time mother and wife, or as my mom calls it, a domestic goddess. But when I had to navigating parenting as a single parent, I found the work to be incredibly exhausting, both physically and mentally, and I started to look forward to the rest when the kids were with their dad. I could take a breath, gather myself on my yoga mat, and cry and think and dream. This new rhythm I began to notice was essential for my well-being. It was in those heart-wrenching periods away from my kids where I learned to love myself bit by bit. One day at a time, I started to indulge in simple pleasures like a walk along the creek with my music speaking to my soul. Hello, Alanis. Or a mason jar full of wildflowers next to my kitchen sink. Or a good cry on my yoga mat, or a dance party for one in that studio apartment above the Merc. Or a phone call with a dear friend, or watching the sunset from the rocking chair on the front porch. And you know what? None of these soul care moments cost me a dime. I was indulging in the luxury of time. And that's abundance we can all tap into. I have some beautiful pictures of some of my favorite things. Let me just flip it around real quick. There we go. Fast forward 1 year later. So Thursday night was my inaugural Sisterhood of the Moon, new moon ceremony, which was followed by a birthday celebration at my dear friend's home on the evening of the new moon. To say that it's been a magical few days would be an understatement. I met women who are tapping into their lives in an incredibly beautiful and courageously authentic ways. Musicians, artists, healers, dreamers. All of these women are rich because they are living a life that comes from following their intuition and listening to their heart's calling. They may not be rich by America's society standards, but they're rich in my eyes because they spend time doing the things they love and offering gifts, offering the gifts that they have. And that is inspiring. From week 6 of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, her chapter called Recovering a Sense of Abundance, she quotes Emma Goldman, who says, "I'd rather have roses on my table than diamonds on my neck." As I'm learning to understand my finances after a lifetime of giving my financial power over to a man that I trusted, I am learning that abundance is a mindset. Thanks, Jasper. I don't have diamonds on my neck or even on my ring finger. Those wildflowers in a mason jar on my counter are enough. I am enough. This week, as the moon begins to grow into her full abundance on April 16th back in 2022, but April 23rd, we will be having our full moon in Scorpio. Consider how you spend your time. Is there a simple luxury that you can indulge in this week? Maybe you want to venture into an antique shop that's always caught your eye, like the one where I visually shopped today. Or maybe you want to take a walk along the riverfront while savoring the sweet flavor of a giant spiral lollipop. Or maybe you want to stop at a park or a local nursery on your way to the grocery store and purchase a new flower pot for your front porch. Or maybe you want to take a gorgeously indulgent nap in the middle of the day, even though there are chores to be done and errands to be run. The question is, how are you spending your time? Are you riding the wave of momentum or being pulled under in an avalanche of overwhelm? We all have the same finite 24 hours in a day. How you choose to spend it is entirely up to you. There's a few more pictures of that little gathering in my friend's beautiful home. The blog goes on to talk about some upcoming Sisterhood of the Moon dates for April. So Sisterhood of the Moon has become the cosmic circle of friends, and I still do host moon circles. It's pretty cool to see that it started in April of 2022. My next moon circle will be virtual for the Taurus new moon on May 7th. So if that speaks to you, carve out some time for that. It's a Tuesday night, by the way. Let me see if this is this time back in April 2022. The week's song was by Alicia Keys called "We Are Here," and it embodies the spirit of the moon circles that I lead. It says, "We are here. We are here for all of us. We're here to support, encourage, and love each other as we step into life on the other side of the pandemic, on the other side of whatever soul healing we have been working through. Listen to Alicia Keys' songs, and if it resonates, please join us for the next virtual." Oh, that's so interesting. Virtual too. Yeah, because they were virtual when I first started. The next virtual new moon event. If you're local, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's all of that. I have some dates and times. I have her video, and well, shoot, I guess that's it. There's usually something at the end of the video, but that is the end of the luxury of time. And what resonated with me when this one popped up today was just the idea of how we choose to live our lives. As a mindset coach, since I've written this, gone on to get certified and trained as a trailblazer in the Infinite Possibilities and the Matrix program by Mike Dooley. It's one click, it's one small change in how we perceive something. Even today, as I was going through the course of events that were happening in my day before I lead a class here in a little bit tonight, I was like, how am I gonna make time for all this? Or how's it all gonna work? Or am I gonna have enough time? And it's like, before getting that thought, putting that momentum into the universe, it's pausing and stopping and giving thanks for this day and this time, and for the ability to get into the flow. Can you bend time a little bit in your favor and just really just find ways to be so efficient? With so many kisses, Jasper. Why, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. To use time to your advantage, because oftentimes what I have found is that it's not having enough time. It is how I use my time, or how much time I spend spinning in my head before I take action or move into the momentum. And I find that one of the most powerful things that we could do is, before we hop out bed in the morning, is visualize how we want our day to go. And then something super powerful, extra special secret sauce that I got from Adriene, Yoga with Adriene, is to simply try this one exercise before you get out of bed. Are you ready for it? It's lifting the corners of your mouth. Yeah, just lifting the corners of your mouth and seeing how that changes. How does it feel in your body? And how does it feel before you step foot into your day to lead forth with intention? And to remember, the opening quote of this is to never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. We are the powerful co-creators of our life. And when we tap into the flow that is there for all of us, if we just ironically slow down, and that's what all these April energies, this Mercury retrograde, the eclipses that have happened in Aries, this really fiery sign to call us to slow down, to tend to our healing, to look at our wounds, to examine, and to go forth with such intention on how we want our day to go. It's amazing. It's amazing. You don't have to be rich with money to have a life well lived. So I hope that something from this resonates from you. I would certainly love to hear about how you are going to use your time this week, how you are going to luxuriate in the time, and what you're going to set aside just for you, because you deserve it. And once again, I just wanted to close this storytelling with the invitation to join me on Thursday, April 18th, my beloved grandfather's birthday, hopping on a Zoom to share a big idea that I have as I look forward to what is next for Let Love Rise, and really how to serve a community of people who are passionate and ready to really get unstuck. I feel like in so many levels, we have been in this stuck energy, and certainly this April energy is very similar to like pulling it back before you're off to the races, but not just getting unstuck and going from overwhelm and scared and depressed and sad or angry to the life that is filled with joy and with excitement, instead of being fearful of the unknown, to be excited about the opportunities and the adventures, and to see what happens when we step into that flow. So I have a big idea that I'm going to be sharing, and I'm looking for other people to let me know if it resonates with them, if this is something that they would like to see implemented and be a part of co-creating with me and with the universe. So if that speaks to you, drop me a message and I will share the Zoom link with you tomorrow to hop on that collaborative big idea call. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you perhaps at the new moon in Taurus on May 7th, or wherever our paths intersect next. Thank you so much for listening. As always, it helps me if you like and share this video with anybody who you think that this story might resonate with. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you for being here. Namaste.